93.7 The Ticket. It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Derek Pearson, brought to you by Canopy Street Market.
It is a Saturday morning boom from Vancouver, British Columbia. Yeah, not sure we've done the international deal, but I thought on a Saturday morning post Nebraska, Minnesota, that there's lots to talk about. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me for this hour. It's a different Saturday. The sun did rise, contrary to some last night beliefs. You can reach out. Tell me what you think. 402-464-5685. I'm good with your opinions and your thoughts on last night's game. Hopefully you're all on the video streams and you can see what's going on. Hopefully we'll give them something to talk about or something to think about. A couple of things in play. I'm in Vancouver for tonight's UFC Fight Night. There is some Nebraska interest in that. Our own Anthony Lionheart-Smith will be on it's one of the panelists, one of the hosts for the pre and post fight that you will see, the coverage that you will see. And Ellie, it's good to see you in there. How are you this Saturday morning?
I'm good. I haven't seen you in ages. I was sick this week. I've been dealing with a bunch of crud. So the times that you were in studio this week, I was out of studio. So it's good to see your face. It's been a while.
It's good. It's good to be seen. From DC to Lincoln and then to Vancouver. I'll be back for the next 3 weeks or so. I don't think unless some emergencies break out, that I will be away. Plus, it's a streak of Husker home games, and lots to talk about. Lots going on there, of course, with exhibition basketball in play, volleyball being active. Big win for them last night. Big sweep for them last night against Michigan State. They'll follow it up by going to Ann Arbor tomorrow. Basketball getting it started. First looks of what this year's programs will look like, and then the recovery from last night's Minnesota game. And there are a couple of things in the talking points. And first of all, I wanted to get out of the fandom vacuum for a minute. But I do want to hear from the fans. I want to hear from the fans on what they think really happened. But it's a flaw. It's a personality flaw with me to try to evaluate what happened, and not on the top skin level of the result. The result is just the accumulation of a lot of data and a lot of occurrences, a lot of decisions, a lot of things that are in play. Now, what we know about Big Ten football is that the physicality is a constant. And physicality plays out in several ways. One, there's the physical beatdown. There's the physical friction that happens between large bodies moving quickly and violently towards each other with some desire to claim a space, a very confined space. And here's where we miss some of the nuance, is that there's an emotional friction that happens from physicality. That if somebody leans on you, your energy changes. And then if they consistently lean on you, your energy diminishes. And then as they start to move you in your head, instead of being present and trying to be physical, you get into the space that says, I was just moved. You're dealing with the past, you never get out of it. We call it emotional quicksand. That once you get into it, the initial thing is for you to fight to get out of it. But the harder you fight, the deeper you get into it. That's what happened to Nebraska in the second half, was when they knew that the game was going to be physical, you then have to, and football nuance, we'll talk about thickening of the neck. that you have to just simply thicken your neck and realize the friction is coming, and it will either consume you or you will consume it and then move forward and up from it. You use it to propel yourself. Minnesota used it to propel themselves. Nebraska got caught in the grind. They got caught in the meat grinder that is, and the physical side was present. The emotional side was overbearing. And you could see that there were players on the field at different points who weren't expected to be on the field. Now, everybody hopes to play. Everybody hopes to play. Everybody who practices for the full week, they hope to play. Then the reality comes is that you weren't brought to play. Nebraska may have come to play. Minnesota came to fight.
Yeah.
Minnesota came to fight. Like, they showed up, you showed up to somebody's house and you thought it was a party. You thought it was a dance party, and it was about TikTok, and it was about Instagram, and all the cute catchphrases and all those things that you say to people. Well, quite frankly, Minnesota showed up. They didn't have lotion on. Their knuckles were raw. They didn't wash their face. They didn't brush their teeth or drink mouthwash. They came for the fight. And
Exactly.
ultimately, you're right. Sometimes you find out, oh no, this is not what I expected. I don't want to be in the club that says they didn't prepare. And I don't want to be in the club that says that they weren't capable, because I don't think either of those are true. But there are times in the fight where, quite frankly, the other guy decides how it's going to go, and you don't have an answer to respond. So, Ellie, I was listening to some of the post-game stuff last night. I was listening. I tend to do this other thing, is that I won't go into the pool that is Nebraska media and Nebraska coaches and players. I know what they're going to say. I have a pretty good idea about what was going to be said after the game from the Nebraska side. What I did is I spent substantial time in the Minnesota pool.
Mm-hmm.
And PJ Fleck, as much as people in Nebraska dislike the man, and I don't think they dislike the coach. I think there's some personality issues with his coach speak and the philosophies that happen. But what he said in the post game was this: shout out to Nebraska for how good of a team this is. This was, in fact, a top 25 ranked team. He was impressed by how hard they fought. He was impressed by some of the things they showed. But what happened was they had done their homework and they knew some things.
Mm-hmm.
And as a coach, you can give credit to your opponent, as you should. But then also there is the part where, as a leader, he has to say to his guys, I told you how this was going to play out. I told you if you put in the work. I told you if you simplify football, if you do the basic things extremely well, if you are prepared to fight and then actually execute the fight, that this is the result that we're going to get. And I was a little bit stunned, to be honest, at some of the players, because the players were like, yeah, this was just like Coach said it was going to be. Like, Coach told us how this was going to go, and we practiced it. He goes, some of the folks got a little upset that some of the defensive linemen from Minnesota said, well, it was like Oprah out there. You get a sack, and you get a sack, and you get a sack. And, Nebraska fans were a little bothered by that.
And they should be, but also it happened. Let's acknowledge it.
Yeah, being upset is a reaction, and it may not be the truth. Reaction isn't always the truth. The truth is right in front of you. It's simple. That on a night that Nebraska had an opportunity to not only define but redefine who this team was and who the program was. Here's the thing we would often say: don't make a thing bigger than it is. Don't make a game or a play bigger than it is, because when you do that, and then that is a reserve of fuel and energy that's decreased, and you have to replace that then if it doesn't work. If it works, you feed off of it. That's the feed off of phenomenon. But if you don't, then you've put extra energy into a thing that it wasn't meant for. And Nebraska will have to then reassess. Okay, what were we fighting for Friday night? What were the extra things in the vacuum? Right. And I would always ask my teams, what are you putting in the vacuum today? Because that will consume the vacuum. And if you tell me that a group of late teenager and early 20-year-olds put some extra emotional baggage into trying to fight for their coach, right? You're trying to fight for your coach, and you're trying to fight to show that your program is worthy of having that coach. You're trying to fight and give value to why Nebraska and all those things. Well, those things should have come from the execution. That focus of all week of your star player having to identify that, wait a minute, that's our coach. Why would you allow the players to be affected by social media commentary about their coach, their leader, their number one guy? And you can't prepare for Minnesota if you're fighting Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were there were several opponents last night, like, and all week, as a matter of fact, that players feel like not only the normal responsibility and accountability, it's Ellie, it's if I said to you, your job's on the line and you have to fight for your family name, right? You have to fight for you have to work as though your parents are watching and you want your parents to be proud of you. Now, I know that you want your parents to be proud of you, but I can't put that on you. That's not going to you're not going to work well. It's an additional thing added to the already full plate. So I can't do that to you. Now, mind you, Matt Rule didn't do that to these athletes. Somebody else did it. And who that is, whether it's fans, whether it's media, social media, whether it's journalism, right? Whatever that is. But we have to acknowledge that somebody put Ellie under the microscope and asked her to be accountable for a thing that, quite frankly, Ellie just wants to show up and put in the best performance today based on her preparation, her work. She understands what's in play. And now, oh my goodness, Ellie, you represented the family and the station well simply because I put you in the best position to do so. I don't think that Nebraska's football team was in the best position to do that last night. I'll listen for a second. So tell me, does that resonate, that to have a young person put the additional pressures on the job make it more difficult to do the job?
No, 100%. And I like the way you put it. It's just we have to be real with ourselves. These are 22 to 24-year-old men that are obviously they're trying to play football. They want to go out there. I doubt they're going out there and thinking to themselves, I'm going to play awful today. I just have it in my mind that I just want to go out there and I don't want to do very good. I doubt that's going through their head. But then you add all these factors that they can say all they want. They're media trained to say, oh, we're good. Like we're Nebraska football. This is how we are. We're not going to let it affect us. Deep down that if I had so much trust in a coach, and then there's rumors and there's things that are being said that, oh, I might not have this coach in a year, or the things that he's saying to me now might not even matter in a year because he'll be gone. Like there's so many things that can go into that and change the way, like you had talked about outside factors, like you don't go out and give out your score because there's so many outside factors that play into this. Last night's game was a full example of that. And what an awful week for this to happen to Nebraska, just with the rumors and things like that. You want to go in with a clear head. I don't think anybody really, and I'm just speaking from what I've seen, there wasn't a lot of clear heads out there just because there were so many outside factors. But so
I
that's
think,
what you had said,
well,
yeah.
I think in that space, right, that for all the coach speak people, you say control the controllables. So you don't control the outside factors and or the outside voices. And Nebraska's made a really good point of saying we try not to allow outside voices in our space, but those outside voices were the space this week.
Yeah.
And there are things that you can do to control it. From the text line, Texter says Rule could have squashed it, but he didn't. I also want to be clear that I don't hold Rule responsible for what other people said about him. He didn't invite this conversation. He didn't invite this narrative. He didn't create the narrative. Now,
He just tried to handle it in a way that was respectful to both. Yeah.
well, no matter what he said, it would have been disingenuous. No matter what he said, because you took a private thing and made it involved people, and then you added to it by being inclusive to the people that it would affect indirectly, which would be the student athletes. The fans got distracted. There's not one fan that can't say that they went fully engaged into Friday night and Minnesota simply about who they needed to be concerned about. And I say this all the time, and people get mad when I say it, but I can tell you as a player and coach, the rule was simple. My greatest opponent every week was me. It was me. Like, listen, Nebraska didn't lose to Minnesota. Nebraska beat Nebraska. Nebraska did things against themselves that really didn't make sense. I mean, you cannot. I mean, penalties are self-inflicted damage. Not being in control of your emotion, self-inflicted damage. And then you go through and say, listen, don't turn the ball over, don't miss assignments. And missed assignments is just allowing chaos to happen in a situation where you've forgotten the rule of engagement. No matter what happens, it's Ellie, if we're sitting here on a Saturday morning and you know your job, you know all the things that could go wrong, you know all the things that should happen, you know what it should look like, you know what it should sound like. And then if something outside of that happens, then you go back to the rules of priority. You don't panic. You don't go running down the street screaming. You don't go running out of the studio. You buckle and you go, wait a minute, something's not right. How do I fix it? And then you go back to the basics and you do the basics right? Let me make sure that these programs are working. Let me make sure that the link is working. Make sure that the host is in communication. We understand that the sound, okay, now we're streaming so that we've got these things. It's only if somebody walks into the room with a bucket of red paint, do you panic? Because then you go, well, wait, go back to the basic. I just need to shut the door. I'll deal with I just need to calm down. When chaos happens, slow down. And then chaos ceases to exist. Those are the rules of coaching, and that's how you adjust in a football sense. That okay, my job in a pass protection is to protect my quarterback. And in rule 1, I need to prepare myself, get off quickly and prepare myself. Rule 2, have my hands and feet in place, have my core activated. Rule 3, get my eyes in the right place so I can see any emergency, any immediate duress, and then identify secondary duress. So if nobody's over my head, okay, that means somebody needs help. I need to be able to help them on either side. But 2, don't look for work is coming. That's the rule of engagement in Pass Pro. And then help my brother. And sometimes helping my brother means I need to help the brother to my right, to my left, or the brother behind me. And chaos allows for you to forget the rules of engagement. And it's really, it's far too common because, quite frankly, Big Ten football allows for it to be. that we have to remember. It's not fair for me to ask you to defend, to run the board and then go get coffee while I'm not there. I'm asking too much. So I have to say, okay, Ellie, I'm going to make sure somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Do the first thing, right? What's the first thing? Okay, the coffee can wait. Like that's
Yeah.
that's what should have been last night's rule. And it was tough to watch. I don't know if you have friends who got into fights or battles, but there's nothing more difficult than watching a dear friend, somebody you care about, get in a battle and just get beat up. Like and you can't do anything about it, right? Like, oh, you're screaming. It's, oh, this, that's enough. Call it off. Call it off. It's the thing. Here's the text because TP is your problem solver. Why don't you get yourself a big time coaching job? I do. I coach listeners every day. I coach broadcasters every day.
Let's stick to this. That's a lot easier than going and doing anything else.
Look, the coaching aspect of it, and here's the beauty of this, Ellie. I have to be honest about it because I get asked, if I want to get back in coaching. And I say I coach every day. I just coach different people. I just coach. Sometimes it's thinking, sometimes it's action, sometimes it's how people process. But here's the reality. I kind of enjoy. Remember, I came to Lincoln to retire from coaching. I came to retire. I just wanted to be the guy who would go to football games and just yell at people from the stands, right? Like, what are you doing? I make those. Can you imagine that nightmare? Yeah, I would have been abusive because everybody, who's the angry guy? But then I somebody said last night that this one hurt, and I said, yeah, I understand that. But in our profession, we watch games every day, meaningful games every day, and if I allowed a ball game to affect my person, especially a game that I didn't coach in or play in, right? I'm giving up control of my life and my emotions and my feelings. I would be an emotional wreck to just allow 20-year-olds to determine my emotional mood for the day. 20 years don't control. Ellie, please tell me how many days this week did you control your emotions?
None. Like I'm like trying to think like, no. The answer is I don't know.
Right? Like we go
myself. I'm not going to be able to tell you how I'm going to affect you. So it's
yeah, and we have it in a very boundaried vacuum for Ellie, right? It's like Ellie, like okay, like we're not going to ask you to draw up plays. We're not going to ask you, like we're not going to do that. But you still like, okay, can you control the controllables? And if you master that, then as an adult, you're living better. You're living a better life. Now we can't expect 105 20-year-olds to have full control over. And mind you, it was a short week for them. So the whole schedule, the whole body thing, the mental thing, the mental clock that goes off in a player's head that tells his body that Saturday morning when you wake up on the 7th day that, oh my goodness, you're going to play a football game. Well, no, the clock is off. And players need time to prepare. And yes, Minnesota had that advantage, but Minnesota didn't have to travel to play this game on a short week. And Minnesota didn't have Penn State conversations. They were 4-2, but they walked into this thing. I didn't understand. I have to be clear. I didn't understand how Nebraska at one point this week was an 8.5-point favorite. And I kept saying the data doesn't support that.
No.
They hadn't beaten a PJ Fleck team, and it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense, and people got upset. Well, you know, you're squashing dreams and enthusiasm. No, being logical is the simplest way to watch and process athletics. And I can say that on the pro level, on the college level, on the high school level, on the little league level, that logic, if you get to logic, it simplifies a lot. Now, here's where we're going to take a break, but Ellie, here's what I'm going to set the table with for when we come back. Logic says remove all the emotion from last night and then get back to where we are. The GPS sets itself, and we're going to reset the GPS for Nebraska football because a reminder, Nebraska is 5-2. 5-2. We'll figure out what that means when we come back.
Hungry for something real? Come to HF Crave, Lincoln's favorite spot for burgers that are anything but basic. Locally sourced Nebraska beef, hand-cut fries, and bold flavors that'll make your taste buds cheer. Whether you're craving the classics or ready to try something wild, they've got the burger that gets you. HF Crave. Fresh, local, craveable. Find them at 48th and Holdridge or order online at hfcrave.com.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
From the capital to castles, starting this December, fly nonstop from Lincoln to Orlando with service from Breeze Airways. That's right, nonstop flights to Orlando out of LNK are starting this December. You're now just a flight away from Disney World, Universal Studios, Legoland, and the Space Coast. Stretch out and relax on Breeze with complimentary family seating. Book your magical getaway now at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Drink locally and support local business during Lincoln's Craft Beer Week, October 11th through the 18th. Great beer, cider, distillates, and more are made right here in Lincoln. For more info, visit lincoln.org/beer-week. Brought to you by Visit Lincoln. Remember to enjoy responsibly.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak. Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to One on One with DP. Brought to you by Canopy Street Market on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. One-on-one live from Vancouver, British Columbia. UFC Fight Night. Some Nebraska connection of note. So if you're watching, you get a chance to watch it tonight. Drew Dober from Omaha is in the featured prelim, and then Kyle the Monster Nelson, who is another 155 fighting tonight, is actually married to a niece of mine. So had the opportunity to do that. And of course, our own Anthony Lionheart Smith will be on the panel for pre and post fight. He and Karen Bryant will give you breakdown all the fights before, and then give you some afterthought on the fight card. It is about 3 hours away. First fight is 1 o'clock, so 3 o'clock Central, I think, or 2 o'clock Central. There, so I'm gonna finish this, put on some grown-up clothes, and gone over to the Rogers Arena. Couple of things, Ellie. It was interesting. I like to think that I'm aware of my surroundings often. So right across from my hotel is this huge arena, and I thought this was the arena that the fights were going to be in. I didn't bother to look. So they had the weigh-in yesterday. So they had the official weigh-in Friday morning, and it is the most humbling thing, first of all, to mortals, us mortal human beings, to watch the most fit humans on the planet all parade around in their underwear to make the lowest amount of weight with the lowest amount of water retention and body fat that the human body can possibly exist, as you sit there with a coffee and a muffin.
Like, I'm looking at my stuff, I'm looking at them, looking back at mine, take a bite and just accept that that's how life is.
Yeah, you're not like us. You're not like this at all. But I walked around, but they have the public ceremony in the afternoon, Friday afternoons, and they invite the public. So probably 8,000 fans get in the arena for free. So you have to go to the arena, and I walked to the big building because I thought that's the stadium, and people are there setting up, and I was like, oh no, they're like, no, you're across the street at the arena. This is the stadium. And I was like, well, what's going on here? And they said, well, we've got Lions football tonight. And I'm Lions football. And I'm looking, people are walking by these jerseys. I'm like, yeah, it says Lions on the jersey. And I was like, oh, the Canadian Football League.
Oh.
And the BC Lions, and I've never put it together, that the BC Lions are the British Columbia Lions, and they play in Vancouver. and they play in an indoor stadium, which I was always like, no, I think of Canadian football as playing in the snow, in right, but no, indoors. They're playing the legendary Edmonton Eskimos, and I was just like, oh, so I find my way across the street, go to the weigh-in, I walk back, and literally the lady that I was talking to, she literally waved me in. She's like, come on, you want to check it out? I walked in, and I caught about 20 minutes of Canadian football last night. And I left there. The only reason I didn't stay is because the Huskers were playing. So I had to get back across the street in full. I probably should have stayed and watched the Canadian football.
A little bit more entertaining.
Yeah. The winning team. From the text line, Texas says this, DP, Minnesota was the better team, has been for 10 years. No more excuses, man. They're just better. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody is that was part of my process for the week, was to say, just a reminder that the program, Minnesota as a program, culturally what they do and how they do it and at what level, is better than Nebraska. And that bothered some people. Now, then you still get the opportunity for the team to figure it out, right? And to say that, okay, this is the first Nebraska team that's facing PJ Fleck and a Minnesota Gophers team with Butler and Holgerson as the situational leads. Is like, maybe that's it. Maybe Eckler, this group will have a different result against Minnesota. But then matchups make the fight, and you have to remember that maybe those new matchups didn't really suit Nebraska and trying to win. PJ Fleck kept speaking that this team needs to go 1-0 against Nebraska. It was real simple. So when you have that conversation, you have to say, yeah, the data says Minnesota was a program that has had more success recently, and that in the way that they played. Now, I don't want to be the guy that says, well, if they play 4 more times, Nebraska would win 2, or we don't know.
Yeah.
But what we know is last night, Minnesota was the better team, and they have been the better program for a long time. So all of that is true. Kmart Steve says this, obviously they don't practice holding the football for 6 to 7 seconds on a passing play. So why does our quarterback continue to not make quick decisions on every play? Now, both the analysts on television and radio did a pretty good job of explaining, and we talked about the mental friction that shows up. The physicality is one thing, but the emotional friction shows up in the way you play. And the mental burdens that you carry into a game show up. Well, Dylan was coming off of a 3-interception performance in Maryland. And a lot of that is being overcorrective of the things that went wrong against Maryland and trying not to repeat them. That is to not trust everything you see as true, which forces you or allows you to throw into bad situations and circumstance. It's also trusting your eyes, and bad eyes tell lies. That's a quarterback thing that we push, that sometimes you can see ghosts. Sometimes you can see a ghost. You can see something that's not really there. Dylan, in his mental process, everything got sped up. Everything got sped up because people were getting there. You could throw the ball away and you could hold on to better stats. But there's no circumstance, and I mean there is zero circumstance, where a Division I Power 4 quarterback, specifically a Big Ten quarterback, holds the ball long enough to get 9 sacks.
Yeah.
It just you can draw it up whatever way you want to draw it up, but there is no exceptional excuse for that. You can say, okay, 2 of your best linemen didn't play, right? You lose Pritchett, you lose Rocco Spindler, but the guys that came in and played the game are on scholarship as well, right? They're on scholarship as well, and they go to practice every day, and they practice and understand. Let's fully understand. they've got to be. There's not one person in the connected to the Nebraska offense that feels good about their performance last night. Not one. Not one. And that goes from the top to from the coordinators and the coaching groups. Not one. Now, is it fatal? No. The reality is, and we work from this thing, that there's nothing wrong with Nebraska football that a win won't cure. And it doesn't, we have to remember to not throw the baby out with the bathwater, that they lost a football game. They lost a Big Ten football game, and they lost a Big Ten football game on the road on a short week. And they lost a Big Ten football game on a short week on the road against a program that had your number and was fighting for something as well. Because let me tell you, Minnesota's entire season was riding on not leaving that stadium last night with 3 losses.
Yeah.
When you there's the adage that John Thompson used to use, that in some battles you get where one competitor, two competitors on a cliff, knowing that one will get pushed off. One will fight as though there's a mattress at the bottom of the cliff, and one will fight as though there's no mattress. Minnesota fought like there was no mattress.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully for Nebraska, there's a mattress. There's a mattress. You're 5-2 with the opportunity that you can correct a lot of ills and a lot of ailments by a rock solid performance, a recovery performance against Northwestern. Now, simple? No. We've said that each week in the Big Ten is a restart. It's a restart, a rebrand, and a redirect. If you get it right. Now, I like to say that in sports, most vacuums are split into thirds, that there's the left-hand side, the full extreme that says, you know what? They should beat Northwestern. And it wouldn't be surprised if they beat Northwestern. There's a third that says there's zero chance that they recover from this and that they beat Northwestern. They're going to lose two games back to back. And it's in the middle third where we try to figure out where the majority is going to go. And some of that folks are digesting. They'll watch Northwestern today. They'll see how Northwestern plays in full, right? Because now you have time to fully focus on Northwestern. Today is not about Nebraska. It's about evaluating Northwestern and getting eyes on. And quite frankly, Nebraska will have another opportunity that if they get it right, and it's at home against a known foe. Now, the data says we don't make any assumption about Nebraska or Northwestern, because when we do, we get our hand slapped. So clear the brain, clear the open mind. But Nebraska absolutely can rebrand themselves and redirect themselves with a good week. You have an extra day recovery. There'll be one more day rested than Northwestern.
Yay.
You right? Like, it's a thing. Plus, they get an extra day of full scouting, right? It is my hope. I know that some will say that they hope that Nebraska football players turn off the TVs, recover, eat well, get treatment, all those things. But there's a part of me, the coach of me, wants to sit in a room and watch this game with the players and say, we're going to watch our opponent. We're going to film study together. We're going to reevaluate. We're going to see what's happening. And it takes the mental burden off of self.
Mm-hmm.
3 hours. Don't think about Minnesota. Don't think about you. This is just you consuming data in full, collectively, and shared IQ. So what Dylan would see and what Dane Key would see would both be great. But if they see it together, it takes it to a higher level. And that's what my hope is, that this Nebraska team can figure out. Wait. 6-2 sounds a lot better than 5-3. It just does. That's the hope, is that, you know what? If we said that 2 days ago that we expected Nebraska to beat Northwestern, has that changed? Has that changed?
For some, yes. For some, no. It just depends on. Yeah.
That part. And if you said it on Thursday, right? If you were asked on Thursday if Nebraska would be favored against Northwestern, you expected them to win. then I would think that on Saturday, even with the data that you consumed, that you still think that way. You're not right or you're not wrong, but this is why when it comes to the speculation part of this thing, I stay away from it. I would rather focus on Nebraska. What changes, adjustments they make up front. Yeah, some of the coaching conversations are going to happen this week. The coaching groups will all be evaluated and discussed at nauseum. But none of the groups, not one coaching group, not one player group, is satisfied this morning.
No.
And they all have, but here's the beauty of college football. You get another chance on Saturday, this time at home against Northwestern. We'll go to break, come back, and we'll close out. We'll give an update on what's going on in college football. And you're right, Isaac. He said, Adam said that they got mollywopped. Yeah, take your paddle. But there's a lesson to the paddle. The question is, do you accept the beating, take the lesson, and then do you get it right? Do you get it right against Northwestern? We'll be right back.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years. With testosterone therapy from Limitless Male, you can turn back the aging clock and get your edge, energy, and confidence back. If you've lost your drive, sleep deprived, muscle loss, belly fat, irritable, you're not the guy you once were. Get your T levels checked at Limitless Male. More and more men are realizing hormone replacement can turn back the clock. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
When it comes to keeping your equipment running, you've got options at Landmark Implement. Whether you need premium John Deere parts or a more economical solution, A&I parts from Landmark deliver the dependable performance you can count on with cost savings up to 40%. From filters and bearings to belts and everyday repairs, A&I parts are built to work as hard as you do while helping stretch your budget further. Stop by your local Landmark Implement parts counter today or shop online anytime at shop.deere.com and experience the Landmark difference.
When the clock strikes zero after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Prekak of State Farm Insurance.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity,
not to make friends, but just to get something to eat?
Or a retiree who fell ill and had to
choose between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You're listening to One on One with DP, brought to you by Canopy Street Market on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment from Vancouver, British Columbia. Ellie, thank you for making this happen and standing on guard. Greatly appreciate you and what you're trying to do. A couple of things from the text line before we get this thing going. Bill and Bennett says, did we get out coached last night, or is the team still not ready to take the next step to becoming a great team? Great teams don't happen in week 6. Lessons happen in week 6 that determine whether you're going to be a great team. Notre Dame lost in Northern Illinois in an early game, and folks would have said, well, they were outcoached and outplayed in that game, and people asked for, brooms to be lit and marches to be held. But the reality was it was part of the process for that team's journey. And we don't know Nebraska's full journey for this team. This team, they have 2 losses, and it identified some things, but losses often do. I mean, it's kind of, we say we learn more in losses than we do in wins. And sadly, that's true. So Nebraska got smarter last night. They're smarter today than they were Thursday about some deficits, some blind spots, right? Because sometimes blind spots get shown to you and you realize, gee whiz. Now, yes, some of those blind spots had been pointed out before, but we know we have a better idea about who Nebraska is. Yeah, there are concerns on the offensive line. There are concerns about having enough mass and enough beef up front. We got used to seeing Nash and and the like up front and Ty Robinson, and it doesn't look like that. And you can't play that way. But you also have, this is not Tony White's defense. This is Coach Bullock's defense. And you got to give it time to find its legs. We saw, 2 years of this. So we don't know who this Nebraska team is going to be, but that's why you jump on the train and you ride along. Is how's this going to play out? How's this movie going to end? It would be nice, that back in the late 90s when you knew how the movie was going to end. That's not what we're doing. That's not who we have. We don't have Heisman Trophy winners and Hall of Famers. No, that's not what's happening. You don't have, a Lawrence Phillips followed by Amon Green followed by, no, that's not what's happening here. So let it play out, ride along, be a supportive fan. And I listen, quite frankly, they just need to beat Northwestern. Like there's all the thing. Well, it's coach speak. Go 1-0, but and some will say go 1-0 against Northwestern. I'm gonna plant my flag firmly on this hill. This week is about Nebraska. It's not about Northwestern. It has nothing to do with Northwestern. Northwestern is just the vehicle in the mirror that you're going to look into. But the reality is, will the people who got mollywopped last night, will the players take it personally? Will the coaches take it personally, and then the team take it personal and say, you know what? Either everything in football is either coached or allowed. So if you don't get better this week, you're allowing that to be your norm. And that's when Husker fans would start to scratch their head and going, I'm allergic to this. This doesn't feel good to me. They have the chance. Now, I think there's some players who will step up, but more importantly, the coaches have to put the players in the best situation, and they may have to get some guys ready who weren't. I mean, we didn't count on a whole year without Rocco Spindler. That wasn't in play. I need to send out the bat signal. Dane Key, you are required. You are necessary. Ja'Cory Barney, listen. Can't talk that talk and bring all eyes to you, and then not deliver. And that's not a personal affront or attack. It is handing you the keys to the village and saying those two players, given situation and circumstance, has to get wins this week that they didn't get Friday night. Offensive line up front, you got to get wins. Defensive line, you got to make plays. Linebackers, got to get healthy. You can't put all the burden on Jamin Wright to make 13 tackles. You can't do that. Secondary, hopefully Hartzog is better. And you get to make some plays. Again, this is the night where they only threw for 160 yards, I think. So, but you just got grounded out. And it'll be an interesting week. The adjustments that are going to happen, the lessons that are going to be learned. But this is all about Nebraska football. This is about the players, the coaches, and as a team, the fan base. I feel your pain today. I understand your pain today. That was disappointing. You want better for your boys. You want better. Again, the food tastes better. The sun shines brighter after a Husker win. It is a little darker, a little less tasty this Saturday morning, but hopefully it'll be a long, strong week and Nebraska will get it together. So that's the hope. Ellie, thank you, kind lady, for making this happen. I'm going to go put on the blazer and go watch some fights. There were a whole lot of UFC connections last night and going, yeah, Minnesota went full ground and pound against Nebraska, and they didn't submit, but they could have stopped it. They could have stopped it. So I will see you Monday, LA. Hopefully you're feeling better, and good luck with the rest of the day today. Y'all be good, simply because.